Morning, Market Chameleons. How you doing this morning, Dima?
Good morning, Will. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. Welcome, everyone. If you're new to the show, make sure you put any questions into the YouTube chat. Please, likes and on thumbs up and subscribes to the channel are always appreciated. With that, Dima, do you want to start with the disclaimer?
Yep. Good morning, everybody. Before we get started, keep in mind, Will and I, Market Chameleon, we're not registered investment advisors. We're not broker dealers. We're not telling you what to do. We're just sharing ideas. If you need professional help, contact your broker. That's what they're there for. They should be able to help answer your questions, provide you with guidance. There's the disclaimer. And
Excellent.
let's get started. Let me share my screen real quick. And let's see. So we'll start out with the pre-market report, take a look at upcoming earnings. I think I'm going to also take a look at that insider trades report that it's not out yet. I'm still working on it, but I'm close to releasing the first version. So I'm going to kind of go over what the first version of those insider trades would look like. And of course, if you have any questions, Will, let me know. I'm going to try to get to those questions before the end of the show.
Will do, Dima.
All right, so let's take a look at stocks that are moving into pre-market hours. These are stocks that are most active, biggest percentage gainers in the pre-market hours, and biggest percentage decliners. Really quickly, I'm going to filter this report by stocks with a market cap of $20 billion or higher. So I'm using this filter here, 20 billion or higher. You get a couple of them, SQ, that's up 3.5%. PLTR, let me see what that stock is. So they're up 2.5%. Looks like if you hover over this little N, it just gives you the headline news. So you could kind of see, I guess they got a contract with the Army. Don't see anything else like very big that's popping up here, but 15 stocks made the percentage gainers list, 13 on the percentage decliners list. So about, equal bullish versus bearish. Probably looks like a little bit more stocks that are up than down in this based on these filters. Tesla, that continues to rally up 1.6% in the pre-market hours. So that's already back up to its 52-week high. I'm going to just take a look at this Tesla really quickly. So we see here closed at 486.64, trading 493.82 in the pre-market hours, up 1.5% on 1.1 million shares. The reason I brought it up is I just wanted to take a look over here on this. This is what it looks like in a pre-market, by the way, the chart. I'm going to take a look at the similar stocks here. And these are stocks that are in the auto manufacturing industry over here. All these are in the auto manufacturing industry. And take a look at this, the median return of the stocks in this sector, right? So this is the median return, not even the average, the median return of all the stocks in this sector in the last 6 months, up 75%. That's pretty incredible, right? In the auto manufacturing, because you could see, look, even General Motors here, up 72%. Fiat Chrysler up 75%. Ford up 66%. That entire sector has been, on fire. Even some of these small ones. So take a look. Eventually, if this keeps going on, it'll be like bubble territory, right? Well, because a lot of these, even, General Motors, Ford, I mean, these are companies that are pretty much matured, in my opinion. But let's take a look at their fundamentals real quick.
Yeah, well, a lot of them are reacting to the EV space.
Right.
I don't know if everyone just produces electrical vehicles, if that's going to add to that many more purchases. I have no idea, but
yeah, I think
amazing the move in GM lately.
Yeah, like the GM and all these stocks getting pulled up, just a lot of money going into that sector. So here's like price to sales, the median 8.97, which is I think that the S&P 500 is, if you do a market weighted, price to sales. S&P 500 is around like let me just check really quickly, but I think it's around maybe, it's not on this. I know it's not on this version. It's on my internal version. So let me just take a look really quickly, but I think it's around, I'll tell you really quickly, just looking here to my side. So S&P 500 price to sales 2.97. So there we're looking at about 3 times price to sales, price to book. Let me see here. Price to book. I don't have a good one on there. Let me see gross margins. So the median gross margins 12.5%. That compares to the S&P 500 market weighted is 33.9. And this is where I guess they're expecting a lot of growth. But you could see here the median growth in revenue, 2.6% for that sector. It's in any case, looks like everything got pulled up here, right? Just a lot of money flowing in there, a lot of excitement. Do they all deserve to be up this high? Then it starts to become questionable when you're seeing them rising so fast. But we'll keep an eye on it, But that's you know what? Here's another. Before I move on, let me take a look at this because I know on my watch list I created a few auto manufacturing. Here's 2 ETFs. Let me just take a look at I know I have like an auto. So here are 2 ETFs in the auto space: CARZ and DRIV. And let me just take a look at if you're going to play that whole space. So here's a 6-month return on these ETFs. 59% DRIV, CARZ 68.5%. And I think this one actually has, it's not just auto manufacturers, but anybody who services that industry as well. But compared to this, I think the S&P did like 20% in the same period. So this is like 3 times the performance. So a lot of excitement in that space. There's a lot of money flowing in there, but those PEs are high. Those price to sales are high. So there has to be a lot of growth to justify those valuations. I'm going to take a look just really quickly on this one, DRIV, see what's in there. So this is the Global X electrical vehicle. And let's take a look at the holdings in here. So these are the holdings. So Tesla up there, that's the biggest weighted holding, 3.48. But you can see NVIDIA, Qualcomm, Apple. So these are like not actual auto manufacturing companies, but I guess they have technologies that feed into those spaces, like smart cars. Is that what's going on? Like they're building smart cars?
It is. Some people say a technology play. I mean, and listen, Jake talks about this all the time. If you listen to CNBC, there's a lot of chatter about the car manufacturers and what they're doing to add to this EV technology. I mean, someone, and I apologize for not knowing who, mentioned FCEL on the chat. That's another one that's, for years has been talked. Plug's another one, PLUG. I mean, they're all these players in space.
Here.
And question is if you're producing batteries or any other technology that goes into these EVs, how many people are going to be buying the EVs? I mean, Tesla, it's amazing. They have a cult, right? People buy the Teslas. But that being said, GM is the largest EV manufacturer in China, from what I was recently told via CNBC.
Right.
So,
So careful. Look, a lot of people on this momentum. We've seen it in the internet. During the technology booms, the semiconductor booms, the internet booms. There's a lot of momentum. It could go on for a very long time. People make a lot of money on that momentum, but if it gets overextended, eventually that could pop, right? I'm not saying it's there now, but you could see how far it's stretching away now from the rest of the market. So it has to see eventually has to see some growth, right? It has to be justified in the growth and in the revenues and in the earnings. But yeah, like you said, here's Plug 23.85. It was as low as 253 near its 52-week high. So
yeah, you look at fuel cells 510. It's trading through its 52-week high now.
yeah,
I mean, it is interesting.
yeah, this was yesterday 52-week high traded right through. So we'll see, but that is like starting to become, a lot of, and I think a lot of like retail players, right, are getting into this space.
Yeah,
So
and listen,
a lot of retail.
it's hard. You can still play some of these, even though they're like, I'm looking at fuel cell and a couple bull put spreads popped up in the trade ideas, so you
Right.
can play the long side, identify your risk.
Right,
So
exactly.
there are ways to play it with the options if you want.
Right. That's what one of the advantages of having a defined risk strategy. If it turns really badly, at least you're stopped out, right? So getting a defined risk strategy, at least to the downside, eventually you're stopped out. You're not forced to, hold on to it and become a long-term investor.
Yeah, and it's also a way, if you want to play from the short side. I mean, you short the stock, using a defined, shorting the stock, it's unlimited. I mean, your face can literally be, destroyed. Where, at least you can define your risk using some options to get short.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I've seen this, like, I think when AOL, remember when AOL, the email service, when they were out there, at one point, it was so high, people said it doesn't even, if every single living person, child, was a paying member of AOL, you still couldn't justify the valuation. And even from that point, it tripled, before it collapsed. So you never know how high these things could go. But sometimes they really start, once they start running, then the valuations stretch really far away from their earnings. Anyway, let's move on to, were there any questions on the pre-market? If not, I'm going to move on to the earnings.
Yeah, move away.
Okay. Let's see what's coming up on the earnings front. Then I'm going to go to the insider trade screener really quickly. So let's see, in the next 2 weeks, we're going to look up what's coming up and what stocks are expected to report earnings, and take a look at it from the perspective of the options market, see what they're predicting versus historical moves. So I'm on this full report next 2 weeks. I'm going to filter out by stocks that trade at least 5,000 option contracts per day or more. We have here, these are the symbols. This is its average daily option volume. So here we have WDAY. They're expected to report today after the market close. As of yesterday's close, that straddle was implying a move of 7% up or down in either direction, because we're looking at the straddle. That compares with a historical 4-quarter average move of 6.4% and a 12-quarter average move of 5.9%. So we see we're a little bit above that 4-quarter average, 0.6%, 1.1% above that 12-quarter average. The high move on that stock in the last 12 quarters, 12.9%. FCX, that's expected to report tomorrow before the market opens. Right now, the straddle is implying a move of 2.9%. That compares to a 4-quarter average move of 4.3%, 12-quarter average move of 5.8%, with a high move of 14.5% in the last 12 quarters. GSX, that's expected to report tomorrow before the market opens. Right now, the straddle, as of yesterday's close, was implying a move of 14.4% in either direction. That compares with a 4-quarter average move of 8.1% and a 12-quarter average move of 7%, with a high move in the last 12 quarters of 12%. So that's GSX. Let me see, is that in material? Let me just see what that is. Education and training services. Okay, so that looks like an ADR. Let's take a look at one more tomorrow. FL, that's expected to report tomorrow before the market opens. As of yesterday's close, that straddle was implying a move of 9.5% in either direction. That compares with a 4-quarter average move of 5.2% and a 12-quarter average move of 12.2%, with a high move of 28.2% in the last 12 quarters. So we're 4.3% above the 4-quarter average, 2.7% below the 12-quarter average. So that's in the next couple days. These are going out a little bit further, so we'll get to those tomorrow in the next upcoming days. Do you have any questions on the earnings, Will?
Nope, you can move on.
All right, let's take a look at, so this is the report here that I've been testing.
All right, for everyone who doesn't know, this is not yet available to Chameleon users. It is in Dmitry's private stash at the moment, getting worked over by him, and eventually will be released, and then you guys can go through it and play around with it.
Right, because those insider trades, it's not as, we're getting them from the SEC filings, but they're not as clean as you would like them to be. There's like a lot of data discrepancies. There's a lot of outliers. There's a lot of notes in there, nuances. So it's not as like, it's somewhat structured, not completely structured. So it takes, you can't automate the whole thing. You need like some of them automated, some manual checks, some of them we don't even know what's going on there because there's like transfers of stocks between like funds and gifts and grants and all this weird stuff going on. But anyway, we're going to release the one version that we think this is the cleanest version while we work on the other data. So I'm going to use some of these filters that probably don't make sense to you guys, but this is more for me. So I'm going to use some of these filters. Now we have the insider trades. I'm going to look for insider trades in the last 3 months that were buy orders. So I'm going to click here. So these are from the buy side, and we're filtering out buy orders that were made, purchases in the open market. Right. So these were not conversions of preferred stock. These weren't like conversions of some kind of warrants or grants or anything that was gifted. We're looking for purchases that were made on the open market. We're also going to take a look at big purchases. So not like 100 shares to them, but something that has a lot of money behind it. So I'm going to do that. The notional value of this purchase had to be above $1 million. Okay. So whatever was purchased, it had to be more than $1 million worth of stock in one trade. So now that we have these filters on, let's take a look at the highest notional value. So here I'm sorting by this notional value of the trade. So this one here, the top one is $47 million worth of stock. So here we see this was the symbol SMMT, Summit Therapeutics. This was the buyer. He's a 10% owner. This purchase was done on November 6th at a price of $3.34. Bought over 14 million shares. That's $47 million in notional value. That stock since his purchase is up 35%. Okay, so that's SMMT. TDG. Again, this is the company. This is the owner. He was a director. This purchase was done. Remember, we're looking at the last 3 months on September 14th at a price of $508.35. This is where the price is today, so it's up 15% since the purchase. And he bought a total here. It looks like he did 2 trades, right? $36 million worth on September 14th. September 15th, he bought another $31 million worth of stock. So both of those purchases up 15%. GOGO, September 4th. This looks like it was done by a fund, 10% owner in the company, done at $10.14. Looks like the stock is down 1.2% from that price. Bought $26 million worth of stock in this one, GOGO. Let me see. What is GOGO? So this is a telecom services company. So here it's actually up in the pre-market today, 6.3%. Let me see what this Summit is. This is a biotech company.
If you look at GOGO, are there anything like if you wanted to do something, not buy the stock, but if you wanted to do something in the options, is there a quick way to look?
Yeah, so let me just take a look if they trade options. I'm going to open up a new window here. So I'm going to go to here, GOGO. So they do trade options, it looks like. So from trade ideas, so I'm on trade ideas. So these are, the top 3 by edge. So long call, bull call spread, bull put spread. So here it says, the long on the deck 18th, 11 call, it's 75 cents. We think it's worth $2. So it gives you a theoretical edge of 166% with a historical win rate of 40%. In other words, this stock could be very volatile, right? Bull call spread, that's on December 18th, buying the 10 call, selling the 11 call for 45 cents. We think it's worth 51 cents. So that's a 12.7% theoretical edge with a historical probability of success, 56%. Bull put spread, so this is a credit spread, selling the December 18th 9 put, buying the December 18th 6 put, credit of 45 cents. We think it's worth 42 cents. So it gives you a slight edge, 1.3%, with a historical probability of success, 83%. So you could, these are the top 3 by edge, but you could just screen by, if you're just looking like a bull call spread or a bull put spread, a long call. So you can take a, you could just select the strategy from down here. So here's bull put spread, the one we filtered out. So that's a quick way to do it. Let me just take a look at the sentiment here. So this, at least from yesterday's, it was bearish, but then it looks like it's popping back up today. So that's GOGO. Let's just come back to this. So that's a quick way just to, scroll through these. Here's how it's done in the last 2 weeks, up 18% versus the market, up 13.7% in SPY. This is a 3-month return. So it looks like it's been, going up a lot actually in the last 6 months. HCCO, this one looks also healthcare. This is looks like a fund was buying it, 10% owner, bought it at 10.05. That's down right now 8% from the purchase. That was 19.8 million shares worth. Here's the one I recognize, Carl Icahn. So he's doing it through his fund. Xerox, looks like he purchased on November 4th. He's a 10% owner, bought it $18.26.
Yeah, I heard they invented a battery that operates printers, Xerox.
Oh, really? Is that
No, that's a joke. Sorry, bad battery humor.
All right, so that's $15.5 million worth of stock he bought. That's up 19.8% from the time of his purchase from that point.
I mean, you wonder what Xerox is doing now. I mean, they actually, if you look at their PE, it's a reasonable PE. If you look at a lot of like the car companies we were looking at, the PE was in the mid 20s. Yeah. You look at Xerox, it's actually making money, and
and it looks like a good dividend yield, 10.6%, 10.6 PE, and it's like right in between its 52-week range. Yeah, you're right. It looks much more reasonable. At least that's what Carl Icahn is saying, right?
Yeah.
This purchase.
Yeah. You certainly don't hear about in the news.
Yeah. Let's take a look at that one, Xerox. Let me just see what they've been doing, how they've been behaving. So here's the 2-week performance of 19.8% versus SPY 3.7%. In the last 3 months, last 3 months, it's up 21% versus SPY 5.6. 6-month basis, it's been outperforming. So at least on a 6-month, 3-month, 1 month, actually 2-week, it's been outperforming the S&P. So that looks good. Here's the key ratios, so you could see here, very low PE. Gross margins, not bad, 39%. I think that's higher than the median car manufacturers. And it's been like, around consistent. The gross margins the last 5 years average 40.2%. Not much as far as revenue growth. So this is where they're getting hurt, right? Their revenues aren't growing. Anyway, that's a quick look at Xerox. Let's take a look at trade opportunities. Let me see if there's any bullish call spreads. Nothing right now. Here's a bull put spread. That's looks at December 18th expiration, selling the 21 put, buying the 19 put for credit of 35 cents, which is close. We think it's worth 34 cents. It's a very slight edge with a probability of success 78%. So that's in Xerox. Let's take a look at a couple other ones. If we could find anything. I'm trying to see if I could find a name that I'm familiar with. Here's Bain Capital. Isn't that the hedge fund for what's that center?
Not sure.
Is that Romney's? Mitt Romney's?
Actually, Bain Capital, I think, is out of Boston, and Romney had worked for him at one time. I think you're right.
Is it APTL? So here we go. They're on 10% owner on October 26th, made a purchase of APTX for $3. That was $10 million worth of stock. It's up 4% since that purchase. Let me see.
Are they a biotech?
Let me take a look. Yeah, biotech stock. Let me see if I could find like a familiar name. Usually some, familiar. This one pops up a lot, B. Riley Financials. So they're popping up a lot. I see them. So they bought BMRG. Let me take a look what they are. Shell Company. Not sure what that company is. Here's another one, B. Riley, BMRG. Here's an interesting one. APVO, November 5th, they bought Tang Kevin, 10% owner, $18.78. Stock's $35.39, up 88%. Since that purchase, 11.7 million shares. $11.7 million worth of shares. So, you could see like some of these gains, there are some losses here, but on average, you could you could see some of these gains are really impressive.
Yeah. Well, right? You know what? It's a place where you can start doing your research, right? And start digging in and, let's see Jake was asking, and I'm assuming it's based on the SEC filings, correct? So this information is, the dates are there. So you know how delayed the information is, right? Those are the dates.
Yeah, here's the SEC filings. So I just sorted it by the most recent. So this is November 17th. And if you go to the filing, you could click on here. It'll just take you to the filing, and there you get more information. So here, you open this up, and here's the filing. So you could read about it. So this is, the amount of the purchase, the price. Sometimes there's notes here. So it kind of describes to you what's going on. It's not always like straightforward here, because you could see here, a lot of them have footnotes. So they'll describe to you what's going, anything else going on.
It's a rabbit hole of information, buddy.
Yep. But let me take a look. These are, I sorted right now by the most recent. So MPLN, This was done on November 17th, the trade for $7.04. That was almost $5 million worth of stock. Here's another one, November 17th, BH. Let's see what that is. Restaurants. That was done at 105.27. This is where the stock is. That was $1.5 million worth of stock. Here again, this is the second MPLN. So this is the second purchase he did, November 16th, $7.11. About, again, almost a little bit under $5 million worth of stock being bought here. Here's November 13th. We got like one, two. I think we're up against the bell.
You are.
We'll come back to it. Yeah, and look at this, report.
Well, the Chameleons loved the new report. Can't wait to see it live, Dima. There were a few questions about the backdrop of where I'm standing in front today. That is a city in the world. Name the city and the Chameleon. Email me at williammcbride@gmail.com. First person with the right 2 answers gets a cup. 1 answer doesn't do it. Dima, any guesses?
Well, let's wait till the guesses come in.
No, you can give a guess. I can send you another Chameleon cup. I'll hand deliver it. Awesome job, Dima. Thanks so much, buddy.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great trading day. Hope to see you guys tomorrow.